A novel and unknown disease is spreading among people. Anyone affected will gradually turn into an animal. They first lose their human form, then their human voice, and eventually human consciousness, completely merging with nature as animals. The father takes his son to the containment center to visit his wife. They encounter a traffic jam on the way, and sounds of fighting come from a nearby transport vehicle. A mutated patient escapes from the vehicle, displaying immense strength, knocking down two orderlies before fleeing the scene. Emil witnesses the entire process, seeing the patient's feet turn into claws and one arm into a wing. The father and son arrive at the containment center, which is filled with people gradually mutating due to the disease. While waiting, a child who has turned into an integer is beside them.
Arrête, Maël. T'embêtes les gens, là.
Ça va.
The head of the center tells them that the treatment seems to be effective, and he is confident about stabilizing Lena's condition due to the increasing number of patients causing a shortage of wards. All patients will be transferred to a newly built containment center in the south in May. Franz, to visit his wife frequently, decides to also move to the south. Each patient in the containment center has their own room. Emil's mother, Lena, is turning into a bear, and her room has a family portrait to evoke her memories and slow the mutation. However, Lena's mutation is nearing its final stage, and she often loses her sanity, leaving many claw marks on the walls. Lena was captured because of Emil, so Emil didn't know how to face her. Emil gathers the courage to approach her but cannot utter the word mom, just making eye contact with her. By May, the father and son move into an affordable house in the south, a secluded place with good scenery and a large forest behind it. Emil also changes schools and, to avoid being seen as different, tells his new classmates that his mother has passed away. A few days later, Franz receives a call about an accident involving the patient transport truck from the center, which crashed into a lake from the highway, resulting in the death of 4 found mutants and over 40 missing, including Lena. Julia, the police officers in charge of the search, asks Franz to register information to help them find the missing Lena. Franz hangs clothes from trees near his home at night, knowing Lena's animal senses of hearing and smell are very sharp, believing she will follow the scent of the clothes. Emil, however, believes his mother, now an animal, has lost her humanity and memory and will not return. The next day is sports day at school, and Emil, preoccupied with searching for his mother, forgets about it and is penalized for not wearing a sports uniform. The teacher assigns him to the tug-of-war event, where Emil, no longer dejected, displays immense strength, pulling against for people and winning the match. Emil rushes home and plucks an animal nail from his finger with tweezers. Realizing he has contracted the mutating virus, Emil observes his body in the mirror and sees his spine has also mutated. Emil feels very sad and helpless, squatting in the bathtub, trying to wash away all the mutated features from his body. At this time, Franz is buying supplies in the supermarket and encounters Julia, the police officers, who says the government has sent the military to take over the search. Suddenly, the supermarket erupts into chaos, caused by a monster. Franz becomes anxious, hoping the monster is Lena, and disregards others' advice to head towards the commotion.
Lena?
It turns out to be an octopus patient stealing seafood. The octopus throws seafood at Franz and runs away, but is eventually caught by the police. Franz is about to leave, but sees a tail entering under the vegetable cabinet. Knowing it's another mutated patient, Franz crouches down and sees a child mutating into a penguin.
N'aie pas peur.
When the police arrive, Franz chooses to stay silent and lets the penguin go. Franz buys a lot of camping gear, preparing to search the forest for his wife from this Saturday. Emil has a classmate gathering on Friday night, but his illness becomes more apparent at the gathering. Due to drinking too much, Emil feels dizzy and falls to the ground. A classmate gives him some hand-over pills, which Emil instinctively licks with his tongue.
Wow. Oui, c'est ça être moyen.
Non, c'est pas hygiénique ça.
Emil, feeling increasingly uncomfortable, stands up and burps, causing a deafening sound that triggers other animals in the forest to call out. Emil thinks it's his mother's call and walks into the forest. then loses consciousness. He wakes up by the lake in the forest at dawn, not knowing what happened last night. With more and more wounds on his body and bloodstains around his mouth, Emil rushes home to wash off the bloodstains and suddenly feels something in his throat. He pulls out a feather from his throat, not knowing that he ate a bird last night. The father and son enter the forest's forbidden zone for the first time to search for Lena. Emil really wants to know how his father views his mother, who has mutated into an animal, because he is worried that he will be despised by his father once he knows he is sick. But the father is obviously more open-minded than he imagined. In Fran's eyes, patients are no different from ordinary people, and he still often kisses her even after his mother's mutation. One day after his mother got sick, she suddenly lost her sanity and attacked Emil. After Emil called the police, his mother was sent to the containment center. Emil wants to know if his father ever blamed him for this.
Je t'en veux de pas savoir conjuguer une phrase et de bouffer du saucisson à 1 euro de chez Leader Price.
The father and son searched the forest for a long time until the next morning. They took a brief rest in the car, and the dog suddenly jumped out of the car window and ran out. Emil quickly got out of the car and followed. It turned out that the dog was attracted by the smell of a piece of bread. Emil looked up and saw a child mutated into a chameleon. Suddenly, a birdman appeared and attacked Emil, deeply stabbing Emil's arm with sharp claws. Emil screamed in pain. The birdman looked at Emil's face and remembered that they had met before, so he let go of his claws. At this moment, the father also came, holding a stick to drive away the birdman, and then took Emil and ran away. This encounter with the birdman gave Emil other ideas. He knew that he would become an animal one day in the future, so he wanted to understand their lives in advance. A few days later, he caught a few fish in the fish pond and returned to the place where he met the birdman last time. The birdman was practicing flying on a slope at this time. He tried countless times but could not master the balance. Falling over and over again caused him a lot of injuries. Emil put the fish in front of him and then stepped back a few steps. The birdman looked like he had been hungry for a long time. He grabbed the fish and started to eat. Emil took the opportunity to ask his name and whether he had seen his own mother. Lena, the birdman had forgotten what his original name was. He named himself Fix. All the mutated patients in this forest live on their own, and he does not know Emil's mother. Emil brought a total of 2 fish, one of which was eaten by the small chameleon following Fix. Emil looked at the feathers that fell on the ground and the wounds on Fix's body. He reminded Fix that if he continued like this, he would fall to his death sooner or later. Fix was very emotional when he heard his words. He said that he was a bird, and if a bird could not fly, it would eventually die. Emil decided to help him find a safe place to practice flying. He took Fix to the river not far away. This was the place he found when he was searching for his mother. Before, there was a horizontal dead tree on the water surface, which could be used as a springboard. Emil also helped him clear the dead branches floating on the lake. Seeing Emil helping himself so much, Fix also slowly accepted this friend.
Je crois ça peut marcher.
On the way home, Emil lost his balance again. He knew that his sense of balance would completely disappear, and he would not be able to ride a bicycle in the future. So he left the bicycle in the forest. At this time, Franz was working in the restaurant. When he was about to take out the trash, he saw that the refrigerator in the backyard was opened and the food was scattered all over the ground. After Franz took out the trash, he put the things back in the refrigerator. Suddenly, he heard a very dull sound behind him. He looked back and saw the clothes rack with the diving suit swaying in the wind. Franz felt that his wife was hiding behind the clothes rack, but at this moment, a mutated walrus appeared behind him. The walrus knocked Franz to the ground, and the patient who was originally hiding behind the diving suit ran away. Franz firmly believed that it was his wife. Lena, the restaurant owner's wife, came in time to stop the walrus and asked him to leave quickly.
Ça suffit. Non. Tu te calmes et tu m'écoutes.
However, the walrus' feet were entangled with iron chains at some point, making a crisp sound. The frightened walrus ran into the forest in a panic, and Franz also followed to find his wife. Lena, he called his wife's name while walking into the depths of the forest. Sure enough, he found his wife, who had become a bear. The wife was waiting for him in place and roared from time to time. Franz was frightened by this scene and took a step back. It was his step back that made his wife give up the illusion. Her current appearance has been rejected by anyone, even her husband who once loved her, so she chose to leave. Franz returned to the restaurant and learned from the owner's wife that the walrus was actually her sister. Franz told the police officers Julia about seeing his wife. Julia did not report it, but joined him to search for Lena in the forest. They searched for a long time but did not find his wife, but they found the bicycle that Emil had thrown away. After Franz brought the bicycle back home and was about to wash his hands, he found that the sink was clogged. When cleaning the sink, he found several animal claws wrapped in hair. Franz then realized that his son had also been infected with the disease. He locked the door and Saturday outside waiting for Emil to come home.
C'est à toi?
Non. Tu fais quoi sérieux là, t'es glauque?
Franz said he wanted to see Emil's backhand. Emil refused. Franz took out the bicycle again and asked Emil to ride it. Emil still refused because he knew he could no longer maintain balance. Emil realized that his father already knew about his illness. He was afraid that he would be sent to the containment center, so he turned his head and ran, but the father just hugged him tightly until he calmed down. The father decided to help him cover up the fact that he was sick. He added depressants to Emil's food to help him relieve psychological pressure. From then on, Emil had to cut off the sharp teeth and nails that grew out every day and shave off the vigorous hair, because the hearing of the mutated patients was much more sensitive than that of ordinary people, so he also had to wear earplugs.
Ça protège bien?
Emil still insisted on visiting Fix every day. However, this time he could not speak to Fix because he had completely forgotten how to speak human language. But at this time, Fix had learned to fly. He climbed to the top of the tree and jumped, flapping his wings when he was about to touch the ground. At an afternoon gathering in the town, Emil was supposed to help on the spot, but he was 3 hours late. After Franz knew, he immediately became nervous. He called Emil more than 20 times and no one answered. Worried that Emil did not trim his nails and shave his body hair as agreed every day, Franz came to the kitchen to find Emil. He grabbed his hand and saw that the animal's claws had grown again.
T'as vu tes mains? T'as quoi dans la tête? On s'était mis d'accord, Émile.
Lâche-moi.
Pourquoi tu m'écoutes pas? Assieds-toi.
Non?
Si on t'attrape, c'est terminé. Tu seras tout seul.
C'est toi qui seras tout seul.
Me cherche pas, Émile.
Pourquoi? Tu vas faire quoi, toi, François?
Je fais quoi? Je te protège. Je te protège. C'est faux, tu me protèges pas.
Franz was worried that his son had also lost his sanity, so he held scissors against his neck. Only in this way did Emil calm down. He asked Emil to sit down and prepared to help him trim his nails. He had always told his son what to do and what not to do. He never thought about what kind of life Emil wanted to live. The quarrel between the father and son just now made Franz realize these things. He decided to let his son choose this time. After hesitating for a moment, Franz put down the scissors. After Emil left his father, he found his classmate Rita. Rita was Emil's best classmate. They often spent time together. Emil had also visited Rita's home and even made his father think Rita was his girlfriend. Seeing Emil's sad expression, Rita did not ask much, but took Emil away from the noisy crowd to the cornfield. Here, the two finally confessed to each other. This was the first time Emil tried the forbidden fruit. Because he did not shave on time, the hair on his back became more and more vigorous, and his spine had completely mutated. Anyone could recognize that he had contracted the disease at a glance. The two were completely unaware that there was a third person during their pleasure, who witnessed the whole process and knew the fact that Emil was sick. When Emil and Rita returned to the gathering site, he took advantage of Emil going to the toilet to stimulate him with a toy that could emit high-frequency sounds. Ordinary humans cannot hear this kind of sound. Only animals and patients who are mutating into animals can hear it.
C'est en quoi que tu te transformes? En rat? En macaque?
The sound made Emil extremely painful, so he took the initiative to attack his classmates and then fled the scene. Soon after, the police also came to arrest Emil. Any mutated patient who poses a threat will be ruthlessly arrested. The police, wearing stilts and black clothes, holding shotguns, walked towards the cornfield. They judged Emil like the god of death. Emil quickly ran through the cornfield towards the forest. Only there could he be safe. At the critical moment, Fix came and knocked down a hunter. Fix flew ahead, as if to guide Emil. However, the hunters followed closely behind. Fix, who was flying in the air, was shot down. Emil had seen him fly with his own eyes, and now he also saw him fall with his own eyes. He picked up Fix and called his name. Fix was confused at first, and then remembered him after a moment. Due to the severe injury, Fix soon stopped moving. Hearing the hunter's voice getting closer, Emil put down Fix and continued to run deeper into the forest. When Emil was not caught until dark, the hunters suspended their search. The hunters, walking home on stilts, drinking, did not notice that a locust man was staring at them. Emil hid in Fix's bird's nest, eating wild fruits when he was hungry and drinking dew when he was thirsty. His mutated features also became more and more obvious. Seeing an owl, it wanted to catch it. Emil's dexterous hands and the characteristic of liking to catch birds proved that he was about to become a cat. One day, the forest will become his home. He explored the forest, wanting to understand everything about his home in advance, until he found a footprint of a mutant. Emil followed the footprint and found a cave, where he hid and waited. He leaned against the stone and fell asleep unknowingly. In the morning, a bear came this way, and the heavy footsteps woke Emil. He squinted at the entrance of the cave and looked out. Emil knew it was his mother. She found this place by smelling Emil's scent all the way. At this time, Lana still retained human consciousness. She just came to see her son for the last time and finally turned around and left. Emil walked out of the cave and wanted to catch up with his mother, but saw more mutants here. Emil saw the chameleon child again, but at this time, animals in the forest seemed to be frightened and ran around. Then several tear gas were thrown into the forest. Obviously, the police had found this place. They surrounded the forest and played high-frequency sounds that mutants hated, making them lose their ability to act for easy capture. Emil's mother ran past him and escaped. Because Emil still looked human, he was taken away by the police for questioning. The small chameleon disguised as the color of the tree also escaped by chance. Friends came to the police station to claim Emil. The police did not know that Emil was sick. He could leave after signing the documents, but Emil had forgotten how to write. When the police brought him another piece of paper, Emil exhibited the kind of aggressiveness only seen in animals. The police immediately realized that Emil had mutated. They were about to handcuff him, but Franz pushed them away, knocking them unconscious on the cabinet. After Franz stamped the documents, he quickly left the police station with his son. He must take his son away before the police react. In the car, Emil told his father that he saw his mother in the forest, but Franz just looked at his son and said nothing. Perhaps he was secretly happy in his heart. Even if his son was released into nature, he would have relatives to take care of him. Franz judged from his son's performance that he might become a fox or a cat, so he popularized the running speed of canets.
T'estimes à combien la vitesse de pointe d'un renard ou d'un loup?
Je sais pas.
C'est 50 km/h. 60 même, dans certains cas.
Then Franz took his son into the forbidden area of the forest, ready to return his son to nature before the police arrived.
Go, Emile.
Emil's heart was full of hesitation and reluctance. Maybe after this farewell, he would never be able to see his father again, but Franz's firm eyes gave him courage. Emil took one last look at his father, engraved his face in his heart, and then turned and ran out of the car. Watching his son's back disappear, Franz's eyes gradually moistened, but a relieved smile appeared on his lips. Emil, with his father's blessing and courage, ran towards nature.